We're told ancient people were primitive, that they guessed, experimented, and stumbled in the dark. But some of them built machines, materials, and systems we still struggle to understand today. This video proves one thing. History didn't move forward. It forgot. Number 9. When fire opened doors. You're standing in ancient Alexandria. The air smells of incense and stone dust. Towering in front of you is a massive temple, its doors carved from heavy stone and bronze. Doors so large it would take several men to push them open. The crowd is silent. This is a sacred place. Gods live here. A priest steps forward. He doesn't touch the doors. He doesn't signal anyone. He simply lights a small flame on the altar beside the entrance. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, the ground seems to breathe. Slowly, almost deliberately, the doors begin to move. Stone groans against stone. The massive doors swing open by themselves. People panic. Some fall to their knees. Others whisper prayers. A few are convinced they've just witnessed a god answering a call. Because what else could explain doors that open without hands? But hidden beneath their feet, buried below the altar, there is no god. There is a machine. This was the work of Hero of Alexandria, a man who understood something most of the world wouldn't figure out for another 2,000 years. Beneath the altar was a sealed chamber filled with air and water. When the fire burned, the air inside heated up. Hot air expands, and that expansion created pressure. Invisible, unstoppable pressure. That pressure pushed water through concealed pipes into another container. As the second container filled, it grew heavier. That weight pulled on ropes wrapped around metal poles. And as those poles turned, the doors opened. No magic. No miracles, just physics. When the fire went out, the air cooled, pressure dropped, the water flowed back, the weight lifted, the ropes loosened, and the doors slowly closed again, as if the temple itself had decided the moment had passed. The people never saw the pipes. They never saw the ropes. They only saw power. And that was the genius of it. Hero didn't just build an automatic door. He built an illusion of divinity, powered entirely by science. This wasn't a trick for entertainment. It was automation, a machine that responded to its environment, executed a sequence, and reset itself, all without human touch. 2,000 years before grocery stores, 2,000 years before motion sensors, fire opened doors, and history barely noticed. Number 8, the surgery that time forgot. You wake up in pain. Your leg is broken, badly. There's blood, swelling, and no way you're walking out of this on your own. You expect the worst. In your mind, an ancient doctor looks like a butcher, drunk, dirty, holding a rusty blade, ready to amputate and hope for the best. That's what we've been taught to believe. Then you're taken inside, and everything you thought you knew collapses. Laid out on a wooden table are tools that stop you cold, not crude weapons, not stones or sharpened bones, scalpels, forceps, probes, bone drills, clean, precise, familiar. If you swapped the table and lighting, you'd swear you just walked into a modern operating room. Roman surgeons weren't guessing. They were trained. They had specialized instruments for specific procedures. Eye surgery, bone repair, soft tissue work. Some scalpels even had detachable blades, something modern surgery wouldn't standardize until centuries later. And here's the part that feels unreal. Many of those blades were made of silver. The Romans had no idea what bacteria were. Germ theory wouldn't exist for another 1,800 years. But silver kills bacteria. And by pure observation, Roman doctors noticed that wounds treated with silver healed better and got infected less often. They didn't understand why it worked. They just knew that it did. Then came the eruption. When Mount Vesuvius buried Pompeii, it froze time. Ash sealed homes, streets, and medical clinics in place. And inside one of them, archaeologists later found a complete Roman surgical kit. Modern doctors examined it, and what they said was shocking. Most of the tools could still be used today, right now, without modification. The forceps were delicate enough to grip a single hair without crushing it. Bone drills were perfectly balanced for controlled pressure. These weren't experiments. They were refined designs, Roman surgery wasn't primitive medicine. It was professional healthcare, practiced with tools so well designed that time itself failed to improve them. 2,000 years ago, while we imagine chaos and superstition, Roman doctors were cutting, stitching, drilling, and saving lives, using tools that wouldn't look out of place in a hospital today. History didn't exaggerate Roman power. It underestimated Roman skill. Number 7. The color that time couldn't kill. Deep in the jungles of Central America, temples were painted blue, not faded blue, not cracked blue, a blue so intense it looked alive. Rain poured on it for centuries. Humidity tried to rot it away. Sunlight burned everything else around it. The blue stayed. 1,000 years later, that color is still there, brighter than the paint on most modern buildings. This wasn't normal paint, this was Maya blue. The Maya mixed a plant dye called indigo with a rare clay found only in specific regions. Sounds simple? It wasn't. To make it work, the mixture had to be heated to almost exactly 300 degrees Celsius. Too cold, it failed. Too hot, it broke down. They had no thermometers, no temperature gauges, no chemistry textbooks. And yet, they nailed it. What they accidentally created was something modern scientists now call a nanocomposite. On a microscopic level, the clay formed tiny channels that trapped the dye molecules inside them. Locked in, shielded. Acid couldn't break it. UV light couldn't fade it. Time couldn't erase it. Modern chemists studied the structure and were stunned. This wasn't random. It was precise, controlled, engineered. And then comes the darker part. This sacred blue wasn't just decoration. It was used in rituals. Victims were painted blue before being offered to the rain god. Even in death, the color refused to fade. While modern paint peels in a decade, this ancient formula survived a millennium. The Maya didn't know the word nanotechnology. They just knew how to make something last forever. Number 6, the Bronze Age disc that mapped the sky. In 1999, treasure hunters dug into a German hillside looking for junk. What they pulled out nearly rewrote human history. It was a bronze disc about the size of a pizza, covered in gold shapes. At first glance, it looked decorative, primitive, almost childish. It wasn't. This was the Nebra Sky Demic, a 3,600-year-old astronomical instrument. Those gold shapes weren't art, they were data. One circle marked the sun, another, the moon. 7 small dots represented the Pleiades star cluster. But the real shock came from the curved gold arcs on the edges. They mark the exact points on the horizon where the sun rises and sets during the summer and winter solstice, with 82-degree precision. That level of accuracy requires long-term observation, careful recording, and serious mathematical understanding. These people didn't have calculators. They didn't even have written equations. And yet, they turned the sky into a calendar. When the Pleiades disappeared in spring, it was time to plant. When they reappeared in autumn, it was time to harvest. Farmers could look at the sky and know exactly what to do. This wasn't mythology, this was applied astronomy. The disc was so valuable that modern criminals tried to sell it on the black market. Police had to run an undercover sting operation to recover it. Stone tools, campfires, no written science. And yet, they built a device that tracked seasons, aligned with solstices, and encoded celestial cycles into metal. It's like discovering that Bronze Age humans had spreadsheets and used them to run the world. Next comes the invention that could have changed everything and didn't. Number 5, the machine that could have changed history. Inside an ancient temple, something impossible is happening. Above a fire, a metal sphere is spinning. Faster, faster. Steam shoots out of bent tubes like invisible hands pushing it around. No one is touching it. This wasn't magic. This was the world's first steam engine, built by Hero of Alexandria nearly 2,000 years ago. Water boiled in a sealed pot. Steam rushed upward into a hollow metal ball. With nowhere else to go, it escaped through 2 curved nozzles on opposite sides. The force made the sphere spin, pure jet propulsion. Hero had unlocked the same principle that would later power factories, trains, and entire cities. And what did humanity do with it? They used it as a temple toy, a spectacle, a party trick, something to impress worshippers. That spinning sphere could have powered mills, moved vehicles, changed labor forever. But when you have endless slaves, machines feel unnecessary. So the greatest invention of the ancient world died as entertainment. Humanity waited 1,700 years to rediscover steam power, and history took a completely different path. Number 4, the lens that shouldn't exist. In ancient Assyria, someone carved crystal with terrifying precision. What archaeologists found was a lens, not decorative glass, but a working magnifying lens from nearly 3,000 years ago. The Nimrod lens magnifies objects 3 times their size. Clear, sharp, focused. This shouldn't exist. Grinding a lens requires controlled curvature and optical understanding. Yet this was made in a time when we assume people were barely past stone tools. And then things get unsettling. Ancient Assyrian texts describe Saturn as having a strange triple form, surrounded by serpents. Today we know Saturn's rings can appear exactly like that when viewed through basic optics. Coincidence? Museums suggest the lens was an accident. Someone polishing crystal who accidentally invented magnification. Sure, that's like accidentally inventing a telescope while cleaning a window. Someone, long before Galileo, may have been looking at the planets and understanding more than history admits. Number 3, the iron that refused to rust. In Delhi, there is an iron pillar. It's over 23 feet tall, it weighs 6 tons, and it has stood outside for 1,600 years. No rust, no corrosion, nothing. The iron pillar of Delhi should not exist in this condition. Iron exposed to rain and pollution should crumble within decades. But this pillar formed its own protection. Ancient Indian metalworkers used iron rich in phosphorus. Over time, Delhi's climate caused a microscopic protective layer to form, thinner than a human hair, yet strong enough to block corrosion completely. Modern engineers struggled to replicate this. The pillar didn't need paint. It didn't need maintenance. It protected itself. Your smartphone won't survive 10 years. This pillar will outlive civilizations. Number 2, navigation without instruments. Across the Pacific Ocean, people sailed thousands of kilometers without maps, compasses, or stars. They used stick charts. Palm ribs showed wave directions. Shells marked islands. Curved lines mapped how ocean swells bent around land. But here's the twist. They never carried these charts on voyages. Navigators memorized them. At sea, they laid down in their canoes and felt the waves through their bodies. Changes in motion told them where land was, sometimes from over 30 kilometers away. Each chart was personal. No two were the same. It was navigation based on memory, sensation, and deep understanding of nature. While others feared open water, Polynesians conquered the largest ocean on Earth, using their bodies as instruments. Number 1, the dumbest invention that built an empire. The Romans needed to measure distance, so they built a chariot that dropped rocks. Every time the wheel turned a set number of times, a small pebble fell into a box. 1 pebble equaled 1 Roman mile. At the end of a journey, you counted the stones. That's it. No batteries, no satellites, no math errors. This Roman odometer sounds stupid, and that's why it was genius. It allowed Rome to build the most accurate road network in history, to plan rest stops, to move armies, to control an empire. Many modern European highways still follow those same routes, measured by pebbles dropping from chariots 2,000 years ago. Sometimes the smartest technology isn't complex. It's simple enough to never fail. Ancient people weren't guessing in the dark. They were observing, testing, and building systems that worked. Some of their technologies were lost. Some were ignored. Some were never surpassed. If this changed how you see history, subscribe for more stories about forgotten inventions and lost knowledge. Because the past wasn't primitive, it was unfinished.